country in the world.
Oh, I know that much.
Other than that.
Yeah, of course.
Speaking of him, he's starting in the bottom right-hand side here of the map, playing as the Blue Protoss from America, MCanning.
And on the top left-hand side corner with a 12 pull, it is the Queen of Blades, Scarlett. Playing for the Shopify Rebellion, by the way. Pretty pog.
Great team. The MVPs of the scene, of course. Scarlett, in the tournament I just referred to, the DreamHack Summer Season Finals, she actually defeated Trap, no less, in the tournament with a 2-1 score. And it was like a closely contested series in which she just like read him really well, and her macro was absolutely incredible. So I expect her to, of course, that's what she's known for, right? Fantastic crisp spreads, solid macro, figuring out what's being thrown at her and then reacting accordingly. MCanning on the other side, I feel like to win this, he has to make things weird at some point and just rely on what he's known for. The Stalker Disruptor pushes, maybe try and catch Scarlett off guard.
Indeed, Johan, indeed. So let's see what this 12 pool can yield for Scarlett. It is the second shortest map on the map pool, so there's that going for her already. But of course, MCanning did go for the Probe Scout, so he's gonna spot this right away. Let's see what he chooses to do. Already a good position for the Cybercore, in my opinion. And pulling probes, so maybe with a little bit of an unconventional approach, a lot of the time, people will wall off right away and just buy time basically with the links hitting one of the buildings. Instead, he's choosing to fight right away while the second Zealot makes its way out and losing some probe mining time instead of losing the investment of dropping a second building. So definitely a different approach.
Yeah, I think what we've seen happen many times here is that when you go for the wall-off option, then your gateway is being attacked, and at some point it gets scary and you start moving out, and sometimes that's where the Zerg will surround that Zealot and kill it. MCanning reacting very quickly in the maze. He gets a big surround, actually. He loses two probes, but gets rid of most of the links.
Yeah, that's not too bad at all, I think, for him. He did lose some mining time as well. I wonder how this fares for him. And also, killing those links is actually pretty important. Like, a lot of the time when you go for a 12 pull, you feel like you have to do damage with those links and sacrifice them to some degree to kind of like make the Protoss, to reset the Protoss' economy to some degree. But we've seen a lot of Zerg players, and some of the better ones, try to save those links, because then you need them for this. You see, like now with the Adept and the Zealot poking in, Scarlett's actually going to need to make additional Zerglings, just the two for now, though.
Yeah, they synergize really well with the Queens, for sure, to make sure you get rid of whatever is being annoying, usually in the way of Adepts. MCanning's most popular build, I feel like, that I've seen him use a lot of the time. Oh, I think he accidentally shaded here. Didn't quite cancel that. That's going to be an Adept thrown away. Like, you can't let that happen. But yeah, like, he likes to go Stargate very often, and then later on, that's when he'll go into a Disruptor and Blink Stalkers. Usually, he'll even mix in. Like, there was a game against BioIce where he went Charge and Disruptor at the same time, which can be a little bit of a dangerous concoction.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, not the greatest synergy there. I'm not sure how he made that. Did that work?
I think so, yeah.
How many times did he hit his own Zealots?
He's a god of disruptors. How many times do you think? Zero, bro.
Zero, of course. All right, so a strange wall off here as well, as the Zealot is actually walling off on the right-hand side, which means there is kind of a very exposed gateway on the left-hand side as a result, though there is a Stalker now. So that's going to potentially help out with that. Still, it's a Stalker and not an Adept. And yeah, this is one of the things, Johan, is not making that second gateway earlier makes it so that MCanning could only make one Adept. And if he only made one Adept, then Scarlett didn't really need to produce that many more links, right? If he had dropped that second gateway, like the normal reaction, then he could have counterattacked potentially with two Adepts. And if Scarlett was as careless to lose that many Zerglings, she would have had to remake a lot more links, and each pair of links costs a drone. So, I mean, I don't think I hate the position for MCanning. I'm just pointing out the differences rather than, you know.
I completely agree. Yeah. I think he should have done the wall thing and preserved the mining time with like all these probes. But yeah, now we finally got the Robo on the way for MCanning. That was actually the map, by the way, where he did the charge plus disrupt attack. But yeah, this time around, it's not really looking like it. We don't have the Twilight yet. He often goes Void Ray into Oracle and then back into Void Ray, and usually he won't necessarily keep on making them. It's just to have a few for safety.
Yeah, I like that. I like, I was going to say I like Void Ray into Disruptor as well. Okay, there is the Robo Bay, but also a Twilight Archives.
Yeah,
the Twilight Council, rather. So, a little bit, like, can you actually afford this much tech? I guess he can, because he's the god of Disruptors.
He built up his economy really well. Maybe. Like, let's see, because he hasn't really added much gateways yet. I wonder how quickly he's going to take the gases. Like, I think the thing about this is that if you wanted to go Stalkers here, it would be very hard to afford Blink, a lot of Stalkers, and Disruptors. So maybe that's why in that one game that I saw of his before, he went Charge. And I'm really curious here if it's going to be the case again or not, because I'm pretty sure we're going to see Disruptors.
Yeah, we're seeing cannons come out as well, and we have seen that the Stargate is not being utilized anymore. So Disruptors for sure, and that's coming out. And Charge, all right, Johan, we're seeing something very unique. But the Stargate is not going to use, right? So he is not utilizing all of his tech. He just made the 2 Void Rays, I guess, for defense. What I love about making Void Rays, even of just one Stargate, is that they will force either Queens or Hydras, and then Disruptors are great against Queens or Hydras. I'm not sure that 2 Void Rays have the same effect, though.
Yeah, I don't think he'll necessarily stay long on Zealots, because usually MCanning likes to rely on the very Stalker-heavy armies and Disruptors, so I think it might be just a safety thing where he doesn't have the gas in the first place. And then once he has, like, let's say, like 3 to 4 Disruptors, then he'll feel confident enough to fully transition into a lot of Stalkers with attack upgrades. And that's when he starts moving out. If he has 4 or 5 Disruptors, MCanning is never sitting back at home. He'll move out with a Prism, reinforce with a lot of Stalkers, try to connect big time. But the problem is that Scarlett has already droned up to 74. She's getting all of her tech on the way. And that creep spread, are you joking me? Like, how is this even possible?
She's absurd at creep spreading. She has always been, and she's kept up with the very best throughout time. But Johan, I mean, there's a lot of tech, and I guess the like you're saying, the Zealots are necessary for a mineral dump because you have so much tech, right? But are you spreading yourself too thin at some point if you're just getting all of the tech hats? I don't mean to be overly critical here, but there's also like the Zealots, and the Disruptors, like you were pointing out, they do not bode well together. They do not mesh well together, right? And there's gonna be Archons, also kind of frontliney units. I'm not sure that Scarlett's gonna, but I'm willing to be amazed.
Yeah, I don't think
Storm.
I don't think he will necessarily commit to that many Zealots. He's up until a second ago, he had only 2, which is funny. Like, you get charged, you only get 2 Zealots. But like I said, I think he was for safety. So I think soon should be the moment where he should go into more Stalkers. But actually, because he's getting charged, MCanning probably shouldn't have enough gas still. So he might end up going into a lot of Zealots. I mean, he plays this almost every game, right? He always plays with the Disruptors. So maybe he's figured out the perfect way to micro them to the point where, like, he's the one guy that can make this kind of composition work. And, like, if I did, I would just blow up my entire Zealot line, personally.
Yeah, it's very possible that he knows stuff that no one else knows. Oh, a little bit of lag here.
Me?
Johan, can you... No, it is you, Johan.
What? Bro.
I'm
on the call with you just fine. I'll press surrender so that I can watch on the... Wait. Okay.
But yeah, to me, I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, and it's kind of like weird to make one of each building and just kind of get one of each tech, because then you have no resources left to make a lot of anything, right? Like, he has
what are you talking about?
Disruptors.
You're the one-base muta guy that transitions into, like, hive tech on 2 bases with, like, 16 drones. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you afforded every tech on 16 drones, bro.
These are different games. Like, I'll one-base muta, but then I actually I do have a one-base Ravager into muta, but I only make 3 Ravagers. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. What worries me is that I feel like the 4th base was really delayed for MCanning, and against somebody as mechanically sound as Scarlett, who took the 5th base perfectly on time. It feels like, for me, he should probably attack. I think if he tries to play it slow, like, he's gonna get outplayed. If he tries to go air, it's gonna be too difficult. I think
but
he should
attack with
be
what
starting
unit?
to move out. Well, he should make only units from now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 20 army supply, right? Like, so or 20 army, supply down. So he can't really very easily attack, I think. And look at the
Bro, he's got
creep as well.
Disruptors. like I said, he can be 50 supply behind in army. He's gonna make magic happen with those Novas. He's gonna make the opponent's army disappear.
Yeah, I mean, Disruptors, I don't want to be a doubter here. I mean, that he might be attacking now, Johan. But look at that army. There's like 2 Zealots in there for Disruptors. It's an army for sure. But I'm not sure that it's, the army that you want right now. Scarlett's already maxed. And I think he wants to sit back. If he can get maxed and keep adding complexity, and Scarlett gives him the room to breathe, then maybe he can make use of all of his tech eventually. But for the time being, it just seems very, very difficult.
Yeah, Scarlett was so fast too with everything. She already got Seismic Spines, so these lurkers, they go from 8 to 10 range. Now starting Adaptive Talents as well. It's so hard to attack against lurkers. Even if you have Disruptors, like it just feels so difficult. And also if you move out, there's the risk of the instantaneous counterattack that could happen somewhere. Was that a save by the Stasis?
It's a nice Stasis. Good feedbacks as well. Maybe he does know something that can. He is a legendary gamer after all, Johan.
Absolutely is.
He's warping those Zealots as well. The Disruptors are getting abducted though. And I mean, this is not any kind of all-in by Scarlett, right? She's working with 87 workers and there's just no army for MCanning. And mind you, Johan, the Disruptors are particularly good at defense, right? So I don't think he could have ever moved out because they're just worse on creep.
Yeah. I think maybe he should have gone into Stalkers earlier, not made the Templar Archives and then tried to attack, but Scarlett probably would have been ready.
Yeah, did get 7 roaches there with that Disruptor shot. Huge storm, but Scarlett's not even moving her army, and I think it's because she's still maxed no matter what happens.
Look at the minimap. I mean, what are we watching here? Like, this is like an entire other class of gamer.
Yeah. I mean, we're watching. I really don't like doing the analysis of this game because I don't know how to circumvent the fact that MCanning went for every tech and then Scarlett just took the entire map, got to 90 drones. She was never at any harm, at any potential harm. She was never in any danger. And now she's just maxed, and it feels like she'll just be maxed forever.
Yeah, probably, especially with that bank immediately behind too. And these lurkers, they might be ready to put an end to this here. Purification Nova is going to clear out 2 of them, but there's still so much where that came from.
Yeah, it's looking rough. I mean, you can see the end game comp there, right? Like, it's cool. Like, it's like Disruptor, Storm, Carrier, Archon. But yeah, I mean, to get there, you have to just forfeit map control. You have to forfeit everything, right? Like, I think if your Zerg opponent just attacks into you early, then maybe you land those Purification Novas. But Scarlett did the right thing, right? She said, you have no attacking potential. You have Disruptors. You have every tech ever. I'm just going to make 90 drones, expand everywhere, and then I'm just going to attack you until you die. And it's not like she was particularly brilliant on the attack either, right? She ran head first into Disruptor balls, into storms, into stasis traps. Those were all fantastic, and it still didn't look close.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the first attack doesn't always mean everything. I mean, remember that Game of Thrones episodes where those guys with the swords on fire ran into... They literally rushed into a much bigger army. Didn't matter that much in the end, did it?
They couldn't see it. The Scarlett could see it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Weird strategy for sure. Yeah, to go charge... I mean, like I said, I feel like MCanning should probably make less probe on the third base in the first place and maybe just get a ton of stalkers and maybe not go charge at all. Like, it just felt really bad here, those zealots in this game. They were just not really doing anything, dying quickly and not even really doing any damage against the massive army of Scarlett. But I think the biggest problem that MCanning is facing is that he doesn't very often throw a big offense towards the opponent. Like, sometimes he'll go for like a DT drop or a glaives, but very rarely. And I think Scarlett fully knows that. And she knows that if MCanning opens Stargate, it's going to be a very slow game from him with like 2 Void Rays, a delayed third, a delayed fourth, and then she can just drone up as much as she wants and then just steamroll him.
I mean, that's exactly what happened. But like, the Stargate has a cost, right? So the way I like to think of it is, if you make a Stargate and it costs whatever it costs, what is it, like 300 resources, 250 resources, right? And then you make just 1 Void Ray just to make it the worst possible situation, then your Void Ray doesn't cost the cost of the Void Ray, it costs the cost of the Void Ray plus the Stargate. If you make 2 Void Rays, then you add the cost of the 3 things and you divide it by 2. and that is the cost of your void rays, right? So the more units that you make out of your tech structures, or the more advantage that you take from your tech, the less the tech costs, because it's spread out across all units. So if you make all possible techs, then you're just not gonna have money for units, and that's what happened here, I feel like.
Then how could you afford Biotech on one base, bro? I feel like for you, of all people, to harp on this is like almost ironic, but I understand what you mean, and you're absolutely right in that. I definitely feel like MCanning should have skipped some stuff. Probably no Templar Archives, like I said.
There's
maybe
also,
no Stargate Fleet Beacon and stuff.
Yeah, there's also, maybe I'm hypocritical a little bit. CERT does work a little bit different in the sense that you make one tech building and you can make as many of that unit as you want. I guess, yet still, I mean, I do go weird stuff, but I don't think I would go one base Muta and +1 melee at the same time and Infestation Pit at the same time, you know? Like, you need a few more bases for that.
Imagine you revolutionize the meta with that, though. Wouldn't that be amazing because of this cast?
That would be really cool.
Starting in the top right-hand side of the map, the American player in the blue is the MCanning.
And he's a billion times better than I am, by the way. It's just, like, I've played against him, and I've never seen him do something like this, you know?
Yeah.
And in the bottom left-hand side, it is the Red Circ player, Scarlett. Shopify Roulette. Shopify Rep. MCanning ranks highly on the Korean ladder as well, oftentimes. Like he gets to, I don't even know. I don't want to undersell now. I'm self-conscious, but I hope that he invests more or less into tech and more to get value out of that tech. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Jaganata was the map on which MCanning went for Mass Adept with Glaives against BioIce, and that was actually defended, even though he killed a bunch of drones, and then he just ended up not in the position that he wanted, and I think he teched into air too quick in that game, and then ended up losing. That was the one map that he lost in the whole best of 5. Mm-hmm. Whereas Scarlett, when she played against Trap, she also, I think she got attacked a little bit, and then she did a Queen March and like counter attack, and then she just breached the expo, you know, because around the expansion, you got that big space where it's like really hard to wall off properly and also wall off the third base very well. So if a Zerg goes there with a lot of Ravagers, they can just corrosive pile the entire wall and then breach it. So that's what she did, and she actually beat Trap on this map. So that does not bode well for MCanning at all.
All right, let's see what he's able to do. He at least will be aware of the third being taken by Scarlett promptly, and then moving out with, it looks like an Adept, just chilling. Stalker next to the Night Information, and a Twilight Council. So this looks a little bit like Dark Templars to me.
Yeah, let's see exactly what he opts to go into here. There is a Stalker about to come out, so I think he's going to try to get on top of these Overlords as to not get scouted. Curious whether Scarlett's going to turn here in a second to make it to safety. No, she's going to go for the scout. Wants to see exactly what she's up against, and I can't blame her. And you're right, the Robo goes down. Should be a Dark Shrine starting as soon as the Twilight Council finishes. The Stalker, what is he doing? He's resting. He's resting his eyes.
Yeah, so everything will get spotted, and this timing, I mean, it screams Dark Shrine. The Twilight Council is very difficult to read. I like that by MCanning, right? Like fakes with the Twilight Council. Now it could look like Adept, but again, the Twilight Council is pretty difficult to read. Can you tell that it's not researching?
I think
I couldn't tell.
Yeah,
like,
I think you can.
You probably can, because you've seen the Twilight Council more than I have.
In fact, every game, as well as the Dark Shrine, yeah.
Yeah. And Scarlett, I think, spotted that one too, right? She did.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no Roach Warren. I think if she saw that the research had started, I think he should have started it, by the way. Like, I don't know if he didn't have... I think he had the gas. He could have started anything, like just Glaives. It's kind of cheap. Just start it. Pretend that you're going for that.
Yeah, Scarlett does play a lot of Protoss too, so I bet she knows the animation of the Twilight Council when it's researching. I swear to you, I couldn't tell if it's researching or not. You chrono boosted, you fooled me, you know? So if MCanning was playing against me and I saw that Twilight Council, I'd be like, this looks like Dark Templars, but you might just be researching or throwing away a chrono boost to fool me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think Scarlett probably knows because she plays so much Protoss.
Yeah, the Roach does seem a little late, but it's not the latest either. Even against DTs, like if you can go into Roaches at any decent timing, they're going to be very good for counterattacks. What do you think? Queen of March or not?
I wouldn't. I think Scarlett should just go for a Spire after the lair, just get Roach speed. I think in her position, one of the better things to do is just deflect this first aggression, then get Roaches for the Archon follow-up, if there is an Archon follow-up. Then get a Spire maybe to just chase away the War Prism, and then cross the map with your Roaches. I think that's pretty standard procedure here.
Well, it's going to be a Queen March, I got a feeling. Actually, no, Extractor is being dropped at the third base. It's so tempting though, right? Like, how many queens does she have?
There's a Spire.
6? You're a genius, Cats.
No, it's just a normal response.
This is incredible, man.
No, it's just a standard response. Because it's just good, you know? It's just good against the...
Yeah.
You gotta get rid of the War Prism. I mean, yeah. I've tried other stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I give up. Just tell me what everyone...
Yeah.
You know?
And I think also, like, especially against MCanning, from whom you expect disrupted tech or transition at some point. And speaking of which, there is Robo Bay and a second Robo. Absolutely not what you want against Aspire.
Absolutely not what you want, and again, like, it is the standard response, so it's, you know, it's a little bit like forcing the issue a little bit. It's like, it's very likely that Scarlett will go Muta, because otherwise you can't ever deal with this War Prism and it'll get annoying.
So you go like, do you prefer Mutas or Corruptors here?
I think Muta, because, you know, if you make Corruptors, then they don't have to defend or anything. The Muta are actually faster than the Corruptors, so they can chase the War Prism better.
Oh my god. He killed the drone.
I don't see much upside to Corruptors unless you thought they were going Phoenix or something.
Yeah, I think it'd still be fine in a way, because you can still kill the Nexus, for example, in the main base, and then you always force Stalkers to like move back and defend. But yeah, against a good defensive opponent, maybe it wouldn't work out. And yeah, we do have 6 Mutalisks here starting now. And MCanning will be able to delay the force.
It could be cool for style points, you know?
Yeah.
It could definitely work.
Like
it could
points.
also surprise stuff. Yeah, for sure. Especially against like an Archon-based style, it's they're kind of slow, right? Like if you think your opponent doesn't have many Stalkers, then maybe Corruptors could be good for a Nexus Snipe at the main or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be less reliable chasing the War Prism. So here's the Muta. And she's actually crossing the map.
What's the best feeling for a Zerg? Is it when you attack all over the place and then you see like a bunch of Archons stuck and the Protoss being unable to defend? Or like, what is it?
When you're going Muta and your opponent's going straight into Disruptors, I think might be one of the better feelings out there.
Yeah. I think Scarlett is about to experience just that here. As Mutas get on top of that expansion, a cannon's about to finish, but she finds a lot of probe kills.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. 2 War Prisms even, which is kind of cool. Nina was at some point kind of experimenting with, and this was pretty cool, with double War Prism, and she would get the War Prism speed, she would load up Archons, and then move around the Archons to defend against the Muta, you know, on both War Prisms.
Yeah.
So that's an option.
Yeah, 12 probes falling here. It means you have to replace a whole bunch of them. You cannot... I don't think you can cut at 50, 54, 55. You just have to keep going, get that 4th base eventually. A Dark Templar is moving across the map. Don't know. I don't think he should be able to get cancelled on that 4th base if Scarlett reacts quickly enough. And has she not made maybe too many Mutas? Even though she's ahead. It's like it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, she's so far ahead at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's rough. This opener was, I think, a lot better for MCanning, though. He didn't diversify as much. I just didn't like the Disruptor follow-up as much, but when the DTs get scouted and you use the Chrono Boost trying to fool your opponent and it doesn't work, it's just a rough position, I think. So I wish the series would reset, because I think that MCanning can take games from Scarlett. I think that he can show a much closer series. But unfortunately, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be here and not today.
I mean, who knows? Like, he can have
Yeah,
a crazy
he has
comeback. Maybe they'll
disruptors,
meet
yeah.
again in the playoffs. Many things can still happen. Scarlett
True. Yeah.
committed a lot here to more Banelings and Ravagers. So I think she was anticipating this attack here with all the disruptors, and that's the scariest attack that MCanning usually can do when he has that many disruptors. But there's so much creep spread. I don't see Scarlett ever like taking an engagement that would lose her this game here at this point. She's going to be very patient.
Yeah, she has a lot of bank as well. Oh, that's a great disruptor shot. The other two whiff on the back, unfortunately, and now the Banelings are gonna collapse onto everything. And this might just be lights out, John.
Yeah, Scarlett on the chase here. Baneling's gonna wrap around, and MCanning forced to tap out here. 10 minutes game.